Let me be brutally honest with you. If you've been holding XRP and watching its price action lately, you've probably felt that gnawing frustration in your gut. While Dogecoin rockets 500% on Elon's latest tweet and Solana pumps on every DeFi narrative, XRP just sits there, consolidating, drifting, acting like it's stuck in molasses, while the rest of the crypto world goes absolutely insane. You've probably caught yourself staring at your portfolio, questioning everything. Am I missing something? Is XRP even alive anymore? Should I dump this for the next meme coin lottery ticket? Trust me, you're not alone in feeling this way. That exact same doubt is echoing through Discord servers, Reddit forums, and Twitter threads across the entire XRP community. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes, and why that frustration you're feeling might just be the best thing that could happen to your portfolio. Before we dive deeper into what's really building beneath XRP's surface, the institutional partnerships, the regulatory clarity, the CBDC integrations that nobody's talking about, let me tell you something that might completely change how you view this market. The crypto space has trained us to expect instant gratification. We want our 10x gains yesterday. We want our rockets and our moon missions on demand. But here's the uncomfortable truth that most traders refuse to accept. The biggest wealth in crypto has never come from chasing pumps. It's come from recognizing utility before the market does. And right now, while everyone's distracted by the latest shiny object, XRP is quietly becoming something that could reshape how money moves around the world. Let's get something straight from the jump. XRP was never built to moon on Twitter rumors or celebrity endorsements. It wasn't designed to pump on TikTok videos or ride waves of retail FOMO. And that's not a weakness. It's actually XRP's greatest strength. See, XRP isn't a casino chip. It's not some experimental DeFi token that promises yield farming riches or NFT marketplace speculation. XRP is financial infrastructure. It's the digital equivalent of building highways, not selling lottery tickets. Think about it this way. When you send a bank wire, do you care about the underlying Swift messaging system? When you use the internet, do you think about TCP/IP protocols? Of course not. That infrastructure is invisible by design. It works in the background, moving trillions of dollars and billions of data packets without fanfare. That's exactly what XRP is becoming. Invisible financial infrastructure that powers the global movement of money without most people even knowing they're using crypto.
While meme coins are driven by sentiment and Ethereum moves on speculation, XRP's value proposition is built on something completely different: real-world adoption and regulatory compliance. And the data is staggering if you know where to look. Ripple has partnerships with over 300 financial institutions across 6 continents. These aren't vague collaborations or marketing partnerships. These are live payment corridors processing real transactions for real banks, moving real money across real borders. When Bank of America pilots blockchain payments, they're not using Dogecoin. When Santander enables instant cross-border transfers, they're not running it on Shiba Inu. When the Bank of Thailand tests CBDC interoperability, they're not experimenting with the latest meme coin. They're using XRP ledger technology, and every single one of these integrations creates structural demand for XRP that has nothing to do with Twitter hype or Reddit sentiment. Here's something that completely flies under the radar in most crypto discussions. Regulatory clarity is about to become the most valuable asset in this entire space, and XRP has something that 99% of cryptocurrencies don't have: legal certainty. The SEC lawsuit, as painful as it was, actually created something incredible for XRP: clear regulatory guidelines, legal precedent, institutional confidence that XRP can be used without regulatory risk. Think about this from a bank's perspective. Would you rather integrate a payment system using a cryptocurrency that might get banned tomorrow, or one that's already been through the regulatory gauntlet and come out clean? The choice is obvious. This regulatory clarity isn't just nice to have, it's essential for institutional adoption. And as we move into 2025 and beyond, that clarity becomes XRP's competitive moat that other cryptocurrencies simply cannot replicate. Now let's talk about something that's going to completely reshape the financial landscape: CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies are coming whether we like it or not. Over 100 countries are actively researching or piloting CBDCs right now. But here's the thing nobody's connecting: CBDCs don't exist in isolation. They need to communicate with each other. A digital dollar needs to seamlessly interact with a digital euro, which needs to work with a digital yen, which needs to connect with emerging market CBDCs. That interoperability requires a bridge, a neutral, fast, cheap settlement layer that no single government controls. And guess what technology is perfectly positioned to serve as that bridge? The XRP ledger. Ripple has already been working with central banks around the world on CBDC pilots. The Monetary Authority of Singapore, the Bank of Thailand, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, they're all exploring XRP ledger technology for their digital currency initiatives. When CBDCs go live at scale, and they need to interact with each other, XRP could become the invisible backbone connecting every major digital currency on the planet. That's not speculation. That's strategic positioning based on current partnerships and pilot programs. Let's talk about something concrete that's already happening. Ripple's partnership with MoneyGram isn't just another corporate announcement. It's a real-world implementation of XRP technology that's processing actual transactions right now. MoneyGram handles over $200 billion in money transfers annually across 200 countries and territories. When they integrate XRP for settlement, that's not a future promise. That's current utility creating immediate demand for XRP tokens. Every time someone sends money from the US to the Philippines using MoneyGram's blockchain service, XRP is being used as the bridge currency. Every remittance transaction creates buy pressure. Every settlement requires XRP liquidity. This is exactly the kind of utility-driven demand that creates sustainable price appreciation, not the boom-bust cycles we see with speculation-driven tokens. Here's something that keeps me up at night, and it should terrify anyone who's not paying attention to XRP's supply dynamics. XRP has a fixed supply, no inflation, no new tokens being minted. What exists today is all that will ever exist. Meanwhile, demand is growing across multiple vectors simultaneously. Banks need XRP for settlement, payment providers need XRP for liquidity, CBDC systems need XRP for interoperability. DeFi protocols are beginning to integrate XRP for yield strategies. But here's the kicker. Much of the XRP supply is locked up in long-term custody, institutional wallets, or escrow systems. The amount of XRP available for immediate purchase on exchanges is actually quite limited. When institutional demand really kicks into high gear, and it's already starting, there simply won't be enough liquid XRP available at current prices. The repricing won't be gradual. It'll be sudden and dramatic. Most people still think of XRP as just a payment token. But that narrative is about to get completely rewritten with the launch of smart contract functionality on the XRP ledger. Automated market makers, decentralized exchanges, lending protocols, tokenized assets. All of this is now possible on XRPL with the speed and cost efficiency that Ethereum users can only dream about. But unlike the Wild West of DeFi on other platforms, XRPL smart contracts are being built with institutional compliance in mind from day one. This isn't about creating the next yield farming casino. It's about bringing traditional financial services on-chain in a regulated, secure environment. Every smart contract deployment requires XRP for transaction fees. Every automated transaction burns XLP. Every new DeFi protocol creates additional utility and demand pressure for the native token.
Here's what most retail investors miss. Institutions don't buy cryptocurrency the same way individuals do. They don't FOMO into pumps or chase green candles. They accumulate slowly, quietly, strategically. While retail traders are obsessing over daily price movements, institutional treasuries are building XRP positions over months and years. They're not trying to time the market. They're preparing for inevitable adoption. Look at the wallet data if you know how to read it. Large XRP wallets have been steadily accumulating throughout this entire consolidation period. Smart money isn't selling into boredom. It's buying into opportunity. Network effects in cryptocurrency follow a predictable pattern. Adoption starts slowly, then suddenly accelerates as utility reaches a tipping point. We saw this with Bitcoin's store of value narrative, with Ethereum's smart contract platform, and we're about to see it with XRP's payment infrastructure. Right now, we're in the early adoption phase. A few hundred banks, some pilot programs, limited retail awareness. But network effects don't scale linearly, they scale exponentially. When the first major central bank launches a CBDC using XRP ledger technology, suddenly every other central bank will be paying attention. When the first trillion-dollar payment corridor goes live using XRP for settlement, every other payment provider will be scrambling to integrate. That's how network effects work. Slow, then suddenly overwhelming. Most XRP holders are asking the wrong question. Instead of, when will XRP pump, they should be asking, what needs to happen for XRP to reprice? The answer is institutional adoption reaching critical mass. And based on current partnerships, regulatory developments, and technological progress, we're much closer to that inflection point than most people realize. CBDC pilots are moving into production phases. Bank partnerships are expanding from testing to live transactions. Regulatory frameworks are crystallizing into clear guidelines. Smart contract functionality is launching with institutional-grade compliance. All of these developments are converging toward a singular moment when XRP utility becomes so embedded in the global financial system that the token price has to reflect that reality. When that moment comes, and the data suggests it's coming soon, the price movement won't look like a typical crypto pump. It'll look like a repricing event, not based on speculation or hype, but on fundamental economic necessity. When banks need XRP for settlement and there isn't enough liquid supply available, the price adjusts to meet demand. When CBDCs need XRP for interoperability and institutional treasuries are competing for limited tokens, the market reprices to reflect scarcity. This isn't about retail FOMO or social media influence. This is about supply and demand economics at the institutional level. And when that dynamic kicks in,
The price action will be swift and decisive.
Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to acknowledge. By the time the average investor realizes what's happening with XRP, the major price appreciation will already be underway. Institutional adoption doesn't happen in public. Banks don't announce their accumulation strategies. Central banks don't telegraph their technical integrations. Payment providers don't broadcast their settlement choices. The smart money is positioning now, during the quiet accumulation phase, before utility becomes obvious to everyone else. Because once that utility becomes undeniable, the opportunity to buy at these levels disappears forever. So if you're holding XRP and wondering why it's not moving like other cryptocurrencies, understand this. You're not holding a failed investment. You're holding a position in the future of global finance. This isn't about getting rich quick. This is about recognizing a fundamental shift in how money moves around the world and positioning yourself before that shift becomes obvious to everyone else. The banks know it, the central banks know it, the payment providers know it. The question is, do you? While everyone else is chasing the next meme coin or trying to time the latest DeFi narrative, you have the opportunity to hold a piece of the infrastructure that will power the next generation of global finance. That's not speculation. That's strategic positioning based on regulatory clarity, institutional partnerships, and technological superiority that no other cryptocurrency can match. The revolution is happening. It's just happening quietly, professionally, and systematically. Exactly how real infrastructure gets built. And when the switch flips, when the corridors go live at scale, when the CBDCs launch with XRP interoperability, the price won't gradually climb. It'll reprice to reflect the new reality of institutional demand competing for limited supply. The only question is whether you'll be positioned for that moment or scrambling to catch up with everyone else who finally figured out what was happening. The smart money already knows. The question is, are you ready to join them? That's a wrap on today's deep dive into XRP's silent revolution. If this analysis opened your eyes to what's really building beneath the surface, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because this channel is where we separate the signal from the noise in crypto. Drop your thoughts about XRP's institutional play in the comments below, and let me know if you're positioning for this repricing event or still waiting on the sidelines. Until next time, stay smart, stay informed, and remember, the biggest opportunities in crypto are the ones nobody's talking about yet.